Good evening, everyone. This is Samuel Lombardo, CEO, Executive Director, and Producer of SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, as well as V Smart Vocational School, Models, Artists, and Radiant Talent. Let your light shine and unleash the artists within. And so we have some very, very good news. I'm going to talk about two topics. One is a class that I'm going to be hosting on Zoom for those who want to know about this topic, as well as a little bit more information addressing DMS once again. Um, First and foremost, I want to touch bases on this class that I'm going to be having for you guys, and it is going to be set up in Kajabi, which is an online platform to put classes and things, set them up, all the syllabus and everything. Also, to have the sales and advertisements come from that, I'm just going a little bit more broader, and you're going to get the first inside look of this class before I even set it up on Kajabi because I hadn't done it yet. But starting Wednesday, December 16th, 2020, through Wednesday, February 10th, 2021. Now, it is 10 weeks, but I'm going to be giving you a 2-week break immediately after you start that on the 16th. It's Wednesday and Thursdays for 2 hours from 7 to 9 p.m. So from 7 to 9 p.m., Wednesdays and Fridays. And one day is basically going to be instruction. The next day it's going to be about questions and answers and actually digging into the research of things. So I'll explain that more in detail when I talk about the topics of what we're going to be discussing. Excuse me. It would be done on Wednesday, February 3rd or 5th, I should say. Actually, be Friday, February 5th, 2021. But I extended it to Wednesday, February 10th, 2021, and that's because you don't have to be on a Zoom, but you're going to be emailing me 3 songs that you have written or collaborated with, as well as a video of you actually doing the production of it. In other words, yes, you're actually going to be writing some music, and you're also going to be composing it and then producing it all at the same time while you're learning from me the steps in the process of these creations. So Production Law 101 is what this course is, and the fees are as follows. And there is actually going to be a grant involved in this. I do try to help as many people as I can. But first, let me explain the fees. So there's a $50 registration fee. That's just to know for certain that you are going to be that you are interested in this. That you're not just going to fill out information, and I'm assuming that you're going to show up. That $50 registration fee will be waived off of part of your tuition fee, which is $750. So it will turn out to be $700 basically for the 10 weeks of this program. Now you could do it where it's $750 paid in full, or you can do $325 per payment for 3 payments. I wouldn't recommend that. Or you could do $250 per payment up to 5 payments. But with a 10-week period, that means that every 2 weeks you would be paying $250. Now, because it is set up in that way, the 3 payments could be set up where it's month to month. Like you could do it in December, January, and February, as long as it's paid up before the end of the course. And I will also explain where those fees are going as well, because I want you to understand that it's not just something where I'm paying myself, but I'm going to give you a line item of what it looks like with these fees so that I could be transparent right up front. So now you can also do it like this. You can do up to 30% down, and then your payments would actually be shorter. So if you know up front that you could do, say, 30% of the 750, then your payments are going to be correlated by what is left. So if you're able to do 350 and you only owe 400, typically that's what it would actually be. Then it would be 100, $175 for 3 payments or something to that sort. All right. The reason why we have to do it a little bit higher for the payments when you're making payment arrangements is for 2 reasons. One is the merchant that we use to take payments are requiring that extra fee or whatever for it. So we just don't add that to the tuition. So we just bump it up some. And the second is to be sure that we are actually getting what we need, getting what as close as we can to what the tuition really is. So I'm just going to be flat out honest and transparent. So what that basically means is that when it comes to settling an account that could possibly be in dispute, I could just literally say we would be okay with this, or this, because it's already set up in the price, and therefore we don't have to do any major changes, and we can settle it in full if need to be. 2 things that we can actually do with this program that we're also going to be adding, and again, this is with SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, but it is through our V-Smart program. So it's V-Smart is going to be in charge of the actual program until I know for certain about the collaboration that we do have with Cameo Model, because we might be able to just ship it there, and then I can still participate in teaching this class. Okay, so those touches hadn't been completely done yet, which is why it cannot be set in stone to do this class until then. Okay, now the topics that we're going to be doing, week 1 is going to be all about entertainment law. That means that I'm going to be explaining everything related to the legalities of entertainment. Not so much copyright, that's going to be a separate thing, but pretty much like what you need to know about production companies, who you're working with, getting you geared up to what an agreement should look like, what types of agreements you should be looking for, and that sort of thing. So Wednesday will be more like lecture, and then you would be basically writing your survey answers based off of what we have lectured, so that you can have questions and answers during that period. And then on Friday, we are actually going to answer those questions that you have. And then we're going to begin the process of different poetry writing and how it actually, in other words, we'll focus on the songwriting portion of it first, okay, if that makes sense. So how you would do different types of poetry, like iambic, meter, etc. And then you would actually start writing your first song already that week. Okay, you can start writing, well, actually, you'll be writing 2 poems that you would like to put into lyrics. And then we'll explain the process of how that goes. Because a lot of people don't know the strength of being able to do that, or that they know how to do that. Then on that following Wednesday, the second week, we're going to focus on copyright law. So that means that you'll know everything about what is public domain, what that means. You'll know the process of copywriting, what is allowed, what is not allowed, trademark law, all that. You'll learn that information in the copyright law week. That would also include the First Amendment, amendments and things like that, like intangible and tangible and all those types of words. You'll be starting to learn a lot about that. And then it'll be question and answers. No homework due that week, but you can expand on continuing to write your songs. And then the third week, we will come back and it will be what is a mechanical license. So now we're going to be digging in to like what it is when it comes to production. This is going to be digging in deep, and actually both days will be focused on this. We don't even have a Q&A for this week because mechanical license, to discuss what a mechanical license is going to be extremely thorough, and it's going to have a lot of math. It's going to have a lot of stipulation in it, so you're going to need to focus and know exactly what this is. And then you're going to actually, the next week, you're going to get a pop quiz on it, because I want to be sure that you actually heard what I said and that you know what a mechanical license is. Okay? Then we're going to take the next week, fourth topic, we're going to take one day, Wednesday, to talk about what ASCAP is. And then we're going to take the next day and talk about what BMI is and how they can work for you as a producer, songwriter, etc. Okay? And then we'll be back to our normal schedule. Then we're going to be doing sample contracts and FAQs. So sample contracts would mean that we would be spending 2 hours discussing all the other contracts related to production outside of the actual mechanical license, where the mechanical license is going to literally take most of the time for the 4 hours of that week before. And then we start digging into the hands-on production development. Now within this, I will be having an individual be online with me in the Zoom that will be discussing the production limits. And therefore we will be spending both days learning how to do actual productions. So you may need to have the equipment available to be able to do that. All right, so there's that part of it. Then there's the production collaboration. So then on Wednesday of that following week, we will be talking about how you can collaborate with producers, what those contracts should look like, what you need to do if you're going to be looking for a singer and songwriter so that you're not messing up anybody's part of the work or whatever the case may be, and what your responsibility is in the collaboration, because there is that part of it too. Then it's the singer-songwriter agreement week, and then the final week is about how to keep your rights. So we're going to sum everything up into one ball. And then the following week, you're going to take all the songs that you have written because we do have some homework assignments mixed in there. You're going to have a final comprehensive 100 question exam that will happen, and you have until that Friday, February the 12th, to hand that in by 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you'll also be sending in a sample of a cover, meaning the actual production that you have done with the other parts. And so SLMTA, this is where SLMTA is going to collaborate. We have what we call 360 deals, and with the collaboration of vSmart and then the other company that I've started, Alliance Publishing and Productions, we have what we call a 360 deal. So in the booking agency, we have where we can book you, book venues, and set up tours. In the publishing and production company, we are collaborated to SL Models and Talent Agency to pick up singers and songwriters, collabs, what have you, and actually expand on this. So what I like to see happen here, okay, this is where it gets interesting and is the fun part of the whole thing. Yeah, there is an investment in the beginning. Sure, it is a class. It's because I'm taking my time from the booking and all that to actually be able to illustrate this. And it is a lot of what I know that I could be able to help you. And to put everything out there on YouTube for hours on end, to me, I find it that it's not fair. And therefore, I want to be able to, I do want to be able to be compensated for the knowledge that I know. I'm going to be transparent about it. So, in this case, what I would like to do as a benefit to you is that this class will be an eventual collaboration to Lions Publishing and Productions, so that when you are done, you have at least a demo ready already for yourself. Whether you are a new singer-songwriter trying to get your taste of music out there, or if you're collaborating and you want to collaborate with other singers and songwriters and you have some other style, or you just want to expand your horizons, that is what this class would be for. It is for those who already know it. In other words, please do not come to the production class assuming that I'm going to sit there and actually teach you how to do all the recording things and all of that. We will have some of that in there with a couple of guest speakers throughout the term, but the reality is you should already know that part. All I'm doing is I'm actually finding you guys an opportunity for musicians, instrumentalists, and even singer-songwriters, like singers, to actually come to me, take this class, and know everything down to the heart of what it is that you are trying to do. Okay? And I do believe that this class could be a high collaboration for Cameo Models International, and therefore it would actually be a big present of relief to see what you get in the back end. So 2 things that I'm going to be giving you. One is in the front end. We do have a grant program. SL Models and Talent Agency has a grant program of savings for up to 20% on the tuition, but it is going to require information of your 2019 tax returns or whatnot. If the person is under the age of 18, then it would have to go based off of the parents' information. If you're 18 or older and you have a job and you're not a dependent of anyone else, we can go by your 2019 tax papers. Otherwise, it would end up being, if you're a dependent of someone still, then we would still have to look at their 2019 tax forms. And just to give you an idea, 20%, it does go down 5%. 20% is basically awarded to anyone that is actually getting less than $50,000 per year. We can knock down the tuition 20%. We would like to help you with a grant to be able to do that so that you can still take the course. Anything over that, it would end up being 50. Then it will be 40% at 15%, 30% at 10%, 20% or 20,000 at 5%, and then, or wait a minute, no, I'm going backwards. Wait a minute, hold up. What I meant to say is 50,000. Okay, 50,000 and above, nothing. $50,000 to $40,000 per year would actually be the 5%. 10% at man, I'm trying to think backwards here. Okay, 5%, 50 to 40,000, and then 30 to 40,000. It's going to be 10%. 15% is going to be 20 to 30,000, and then of course 10,000 to 20,000 would be your 20%. So anything that is $19,999 or less, you would get 20% off of your tuition with us. But you can still get 5% off at least if you're getting, if you made 50,000 or more on your tax return. That's really what I meant to say. And then it goes, the money goes down, the percentages go up, okay? But that is the best that we can do because it isn't really, it's not legislated into our school yet. So it is something that I want to do to try to see if I can collab with more singers, songwriters, producers, etc., that will actually be working with SL Models and Talent Agency, but also with the production company. So if you don't want to start a production company, but you are very good at producing, then we would want you in Lions Publishing and Productions, and you'd still end up getting a portion of the royalties of the work. And that's the other part that I want to discuss. So I think I'm going to do Discover Me Showcase tomorrow, because I want to make sure that I'm being very clear here about Lions Publishing and Productions. For producers out there that are focused strictly on producing, because I know that there are several different areas, like you'll have like these big publishing and production companies, like Harry Fox, a publishing company, BMI, ASCAP, etc., okay? Then you have the production companies like record companies, like Sony Records, Warner, etc., Columbian Records, you know, big ones like that. What Lions Publishing and Productions wants to do, or LP&P, we want to basically be able to help producers who would want to work in a fine line area with work that is constantly pulling in and would actually pay them accordingly. That's number one. Number two, the singers and songwriters, especially those that are new, need a hub to get to the bigger named record companies. Now, as of right now, I don't know how big LP&P will get, but I do know that if this actually expands pretty rapidly, it may become its own record company as well. Because understand this, there's a difference between a production company and a record label. And you're going to learn that in this class. The biggest thing about the record label is that it'd be like a film director. You have a producer and an executive producer. The executive producer is investing in what the producer, the film director, wants for the film, and expects it to be at its best and is looking for the best quality because they're investing in it. In other words, it could be a low-cost budget film. It's going to be a low-cost budget reality. If it's going to be a high-budget film, it's going to probably most likely be the best quality of a film that you see. Well, that is what the record label does. They are financially secured enough that they would be able to invest in the singer-songwriter, and based off of their royalty agreement to pay what they have invested, because they know that they're gaining that money back in the records that they are selling or from the touring that they are doing, or etc. So what SL Models and Talent Agency LLC has began to do was develop a collaboration wildly with my own collaboration with Lions Publishing and Productions LLC, which is another company that I've created. But it's not just going to be for a bunch of producers to produce things. It's also going to be the record label for artists like singers, songwriters who are looking to collab, and also are going to let us know about their strengths in their recording efforts. Now, we are in a new day and age, and I don't want the video to stretch out so long. It seems like that the more that I'm on a different topic, the longer the video gets. But I'm so excited to bring this up, that SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is the only agency that I know of out there that legitimately has a 360 deal within the agency, which means that for singers and songwriters, the contract would be exclusive. Now, do we accept new singer and songwriters? Yes. But there is a particular way of doing it, and therefore we are going to be very strict about it. It's still an exclusive agreement with us, But the agreement isn't going to be that you're going to right away go out on tours and make cahoots of money. But how do we get you there? We have to build your brand first. And a lot of these folks that know about touring and etc. do know the types of investment that gets involved with it, the time that it takes to get involved in touring. We're talking about people who are going out there and actually are touring. And what I would really like to do probably in this segment is I want to hire I want to bring someone in who is actually, who can be able to talk to you for about 30 minutes and actually explain the process before it even took them to go out there into touring, and what kind of money it took them to actually get the training and everything that they needed. Some come right out of college and then they still need to train. Why? Because you still got to pay the producer. It's like so much money, $50 to $100 an hour. And if the record label doesn't know you, they're not going to just say, oh yeah, well your voice sounds beautiful, let's go ahead and sign them. No. You're going to have to show your worth as an actual singer and do the work up front to get the record label to believe in you. So if you thought that portfolio photos is expensive to be a model, then let's look at it in the perspective of a singer who's got to sit there with a microphone like this in a studio for hours just for one song before they're like, okay, you'll keep hearing, oh, cut, stop, whatever, usually cut. Then they have to stop and they go, all right, start from phase one, and here we are starting all over again. La da 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 da, no, cut, stop. I mean, that's what you need. You actually need a live stream in a studio with a producer who is going to show you what kind of work they actually do with an artist. And where that money is coming from, because it sure isn't coming from the producer. The producer wants to get paid. So it's coming from somewhere. So that's why I'm trying very hard to come up with these programs that will actually help you in the establishment of your career as a singer-songwriter, collab, or if you're looking to even be a producer. Now, this might sound like a sales pitch to get into SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, but the reality is this. Most artist agencies, now see, modeling agency is exactly what it is. It's SL Models and Talent Agency does the agency work. But when it does come to artists, where there are like 15 different contracts and some of them are not related to the agency at all, it is literally a different scenario. So, as an artist, for a singer, songwriter, musician or instrumentalist, or music theorists, for that matter as well, composers. This information does require a different type of a contract with a talent agency, and it's called the artist record contract. It is a artist agreement. It is, and it includes tour management, record label, so all that. We have that. It's called a 360 talent management. Well, actually, we call it a 360 artist agreement. And it covers everything, including the record label, tour managing, etc. But you will have to be coachable on that. And it does not come cheap. So I don't want you to confuse this with what I was talking about in all my other videos, that we are making upfront costs, because we are not. We're not telling you that you have to choose us to do anything, but the purpose of the agreements when it comes to touring is that in order to get in touch with the artists, they would need to get in touch with the tour manager. When it comes to the record label, so if we see very good improvement, we may send your work to a record label to see what the response will be. It may not be the best in the beginning, but that doesn't mean that you would never get signed with a record label. It just means that you have to keep working hard on your projects to make that happen. So this is a little bit different than when it comes to booking actors, print jobs, and things like that. SL Models and Talent Agency LLC again has a what we call a Artist Agreement 360. That's actually what that is called. Artist Agreement 360, which is for the division for musicians and singers, which is a total different thing from everything else that SL Models and Talent Agency LLC stands for, because we need to be sure that we are going to book real artists that are actually ready. And so we're talking about pro stars, elite artists that, or at the very least, professional emerging artists who are actually ready, and they have already traveled the world or whatever the case is, and they are now looking to compete in record labels. In this case, this would also be you as well. That is what we are looking at. And there's a whole lot that has changed with this whole COVID-19 experience. Like, let me explain to you one thing that Lions Publishing and Productions have implemented. Because we know how this pandemic spreads without the mask. So we have individuals who will, now it takes a little bit longer, but has better quality equipment to fix things. And they will sing with the mask on. And then to get the picture for their actual label or any other professional work of their own, that would be when the face mask would come off. But they would sing with it on, and then they would be able to kill the distortions from the production equipment that the producers have. That way then, there are no issues with the possibility of spitting into the mic, or is anyone holding the mic, or whatever the case is. Like, we had to make changes on the type of mic, like even this one. This one distorts any noise, and believe me, there was a lot, not now, because some of them probably went to bed, but um, with the loud TV that there was before, you hadn't heard any of it. And that's because when I speak into this here, and this whole shell piece that you see like this is a soundproof gadget wall that literally kills out any distractions other than the voice that you are hearing. So that is some of the stuff that we are using today to be able to really get production done. And in some cases, it could be less expensive because they're actually able to kill off distortions, noises, things like that. Other times, it just depends on if you were just a total mess up where you were flattening out in an area that they didn't know, or perhaps there wasn't no real difference between the music and the bridge, or whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to bring that all to your attention, that our Artist Agreement 360 is a total separate agreement, and it is exclusive to SL Models and Talent Agency LLC only, for artists who want to brand themselves internationally or nationally for record labeling purposes and touring. But you're going to have to do the work first. So if you are coachable and music seems to be something that you would be interested in doing, I would start with this class, Production Law 101, and get to meet a few people within the industry while you're at it so that you can get the feel for it. That is what I would pretty much do. All right. Now, SL Models and Talent Agency LLC does not charge upfront costs, and you don't need to take a class in order to be signed. But I'm actually introducing this class. It's going to sound weird. I'm introducing this class with the possibility that you may actually get signed as an Artist Agreement 360, because some of you might actually pass this class with flying colors, to the point that I do see a whole lot more potential than you thought you did in the beginning. But that doesn't mean that we're not accepting emerging, professional, elite, or star singers out there. I'm not saying that you have to take this class, especially if you're a star already on a stage. You are beyond what this Production Law 101 is. But I'm talking about those who are beginning, at least emerging. If you're a beginner, I would be sticking with the producer that you are communicating with, or whatever the case may be. But if you're emerging basically means that you're an up-and-coming #1 artist that has been singing in various languages. Perhaps you've traveled the world, toured the world, whatever the case may be. But the only thing that is really left on your plate, besides expanding in your tours, is actually the finances of it. And that means actually publishing your work that you have done, creating a 360 that will also put you in the light of record labels, etc. That's where you would need us. All right, that's where you would need us. And then, like, this Production Law 101 class is for beginners especially, and could be some emerging artists. who, basically want to know what it's going to be like if they're going to get into this part of the industry. Because it's a lot more than just getting a microphone, having a guitar, and then just singing on YouTube, thinking that that is what it is. It's a little bit more than that, especially if no one knows who you are. This might sound silly, but you may want to do this on TikTok and Instagram first and develop a fan base before you try to go on something like YouTube trying to get subscribers to follow you when indeed nobody knows who you are. I mean, that's kind of hypocritical because that's what I'm doing with the agency, but the agency is a little bit of a different situation. I actually have followers on Instagram and a lot of people on Facebook. I share my videos from YouTube on Facebook, but for some odd reason, I don't know what it is. Subscribe, folks, because I'm seeing you guys liking the video. So I don't know if you like the idea that I keep posting them, or if you're actually listening to what I'm saying and actually learning something from it. But one or the other, subscribe so that if there is something of topic that you enjoy, then, you can also like it, but you will learn a lot from me as well. I really don't want to just be talking to myself. And if you have comments, please comment down below. I do tend to ignore comments that are not relative to my topics I'm discussing in the video, and that's because I am keeping this professional. So, for example, unless I am speaking about something financial, meaning like the EIDL loan or EIDL grant or whatever the case may be, I don't want to have random comments of stock market requests and things put into my comments that are explaining about what SL Models and Talent Agency LLC is doing. I like the idea of where the stock market is going some days versus other days, but that is not the topics that I'm talking about. So unless it's entertainment related, I would really appreciate that you consider that, okay? If you want to put those type of comments where I'm speaking about EIDL advances and loan, by all means, you can do that. But that's basically where I wanted to go in that regard. I'm going to talk tomorrow more about DMS, which is Discover Me Showcase, because I'll have the registration forms and everything. I'm going to be speaking. I'm so very excited right now, like highly excited about the collaboration with Cameo Models International. And like just the Discover Me Showcase USA is just the beginning portion of it. And I think more is yet to come. But again, for us, Production Law 101 is going to be the course for anybody that wants to collaborate as singers, songwriters, looking for producers, or collaborate with other singers, songwriters, musicians, instrumentalists, etc. This is the course that you want to get into. And it is 10 weeks long. You will actually get a certificate of completion when you are done, professionally speaking, from SLMTA. And you will also get a certificate of acceptance in the beginning with a letter welcoming you. And the idea is this is really going to be the first step to our Artist Agreement 360. And that is so that it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to be with a record label, but what it does, it assures you the understanding of what is involved to be with a record label, and therefore, do you have a strong chance of actually being with a record label? Yes, there is a better possibility, but nobody can guarantee you anything in this industry. And again, this is for beginners who are interested in this. I want to relay in the last 10 minutes of this hour block of special edition to this programming that I'm doing right now. I want to add that there is really nothing wrong with the classes and things being within the agency and how I am doing it. It is when there are agencies out there that claim that this is the way it has to go in order to be booked. Because SL Models and Talent Agency LLC, our branding really suggests the opportunity for new and emerging artists, which means that we want to do whatever it takes as long as you understand what it's going to take to be able to get yourself geared up. But I'm not going to use this as a way for you to actually get booked. When it comes to modeling and acting, it's very easy for that. But when it comes to singers, to be honest, there will be a lot of classes that I could be suggesting to you. Because a lot of people want to be a singer, but they are not necessarily professional singers. So they're not set up in that realm. And there isn't no real actual union that collabs or sets up anything for singers. So SL Models and Talent Agency would be the first. I mean, there are federations like 105, like different unions in that way, but that's more or less for radio production and things like that. But to be a singer, and you're right, there's not many unions for that. And SL Models and Talent Agency LLC has witnessed and understood that, and therefore we want to do something to try to rectify that problem. But at the same time, we want to be able to be sure that our new singers, the possibility to still get like what the stars are getting. There's a lot of people that are concerned about other people taking over what the stars are doing, but here's the thing. The stars will always be the stars. The Hall of Fame will always be the Hall of Fame. Okay? We know those concepts, that what has been done. But I am looking for a new opportunity, not as a way to make some kind of money off of this, but as the opportunity for the artist. That's the intention here, is that we want to provide the opportunity for artists, meaning when I say for artists, I'm talking about singer-songwriters, instrumentalists, composers, and musicians, who would be very interested in wanting to be with Slmta for that purpose, to brand their work up. And that is what we are planning to do here at SLMTA. And we will do whatever it takes. Now, if you have the ego where you think you're all good, then take it to a producer. And I don't mean a producer that's just going to tell you, yeah, it's $50 an hour, and expects to just do the cover for you, and then you're stuck trying to figure out who's going to actually make your CD or your demo, because all you got is a production right with a producer that charges you an arm and a leg. So if you think that SLMTA doesn't know what it's talking about, then try it. Because I'm going to tell you that's what technically is going to happen when it comes to a producer. Okay? However, well, let me back that up. I'm letting you know how a producer works versus a record label. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So in other words, I'm not talking down a producer. The producer's in it to produce the production rights to the music that is being collabed, one way or the other. And I do have a right within my agency to suggest producers that would actually be willing to work with the artist. The issue is that the artist would be thinking that the agency is a scam, but here is where you find the scam in an agency that's trying to mess up artists, meaning musicians, songwriters, instrumentalists, and composers. If the agency is just looking at sending everybody to one producer, that could be a heads up. If the agency is trying to influence the artist or the songwriter to utilize channels within its operations, it could be a heads up. So in this case, even if I'm willing to help you, and then when I say a heads up, let me back that up real quick. Even though I say it's a heads up, does not mean I don't have the right that I can actually help you guys to produce. Okay? Because when it actually comes to starting production companies, record labels, like I did with Lions Publishing and Productions, and then how we can help artists refine their work and things like that, that is not actually being a scam to an artist. What that really is that the artist needs to be coachable when it comes to that. It's a whole nother line of work that you need to know how to do. It's different from modeling. It's different from the camera and filming, etc. It's not just your voice. Obviously, you have the voice. You also have to have some kind of a look, but your voice projects your look. Your voice and its projection and enunciations who also help throughout the music world. But it's really about the sound that you're putting out and what type of sounds are there for the different genres. So that's why I'm basically telling you that this line of work, you'll be dealing with me directly, because this is pretty much where I'm at. This is my line of work right here. If it's one thing that I actually know in the performing and fine arts, singing is it. And there are things with acting that I also know much about as well. But when it comes to record labels and mechanical licenses and how to sing even, how to compose music, all that stuff, right here, like, I know that. And I also know people that do know that. that I could refer to. So, so I'm not here at all to try to put myself out there to embarrass myself in a level of scamming. That's not what this is. This is real. If you want to take the class and you want to learn and be coachable about what to do next in your collaborations, or what does it take to go through productions and things like that, what the artist agreement 360 really is. What is a 360 deal? What is the production agreement? What is a mechanical license? What is the there are 15 different contracts just to be a recording artist. And we also have different platforms that we have licenses for already, that all we have to do is, as soon as we see what your potential is, we can literally set you up on those online platforms already, and you would be earning money. It may not be the recording portion of, well, actually, it's still recording, but what I'm saying is it wouldn't be the record part of it, where you're selling CDs or whatever the case may be, or live performance, but it is, radio stations, it's online platforms, all that we have a license for, that we can actually put your work out there. And together, as a collaboration, as part of your Artist Agreement 360, SL Models and Talent Agency could pay you a royalty for that. And I think typically most agencies want 30% of those royalties. We're actually going to pay you 40%. And if you're actually an elite artist, we're going to do 50-50, because we would rather take less and still earn, and then benefit you, because you are the one that is paying the agency. Okay, I'm just going to put it that way. So the more work and the more that you are doing, the better you're going to trust us. And as an artist, your work is really all about tour managing and where you're going to go out, and people really wanting to work with you. So if I had someone, like, no, I can't really say this. Let me just say it this way. If I had a star singer on my roster and they wanted that person, him or her, to be at, say, Staples Center, we would have the agreement that somebody is responsible for marketing, someone, what percentage of what, and we usually pay upwards to 30% on ticket costs, or it could be a little more if they're already forking in the money to the artists in the beginning. In other words, because we go by budget of the programming, and therefore it could be almost up to, say, for $1 million budget, it could be $250,000, and then they would need to escrow $100,000 for marketing. So in that case, it's $350,000, and what we typically say is 30% of anything over $1 million, and then it's about 40% of ticket sales that they would actually pay. So let's say that it was $2 million in the end that they made. We would basically say, okay, it's $300,000 from that, and that the $1 million in the actual sales would be generated at 40%. And what I have seen is the upfront costs has already been paid out. minus 50,000, so they would be owing 50,000. That's how that would go. So in other words, they're not going to make the $1 million and then turn around and have to pay again another 400,000. There are probably tour managers that work that way, but if there are, you got to let me know, because that is an extreme ripoff. What normally happens, the reason for these upfront costs is because we want to be sure that anything relating to the artist is already being paid, or that the artist is being paid. There are some of these agreements where we would have an upfront cost period, and we would be saying, okay, let's use this $1 million figure as an example again. It is a 10% upfront agency fee. All right, that would be our bare minimum, which means that they would have to pay $100,000. Now that goes to the agency. Now the agency, out of the, I'll explain the other part example in a minute. Now, if they want us to pay for the marketing, and we're using that $100,000 to do so, then it turns out to be that we would actually have to have an agreement of per diem rate on the contract, meaning that whatever is being paid by the agency is being reimbursed, but it is not separated, it's not subtracted from the original agreement of this tour or this show. Typically in this situation, they would take care of the marketing. We would tell them that they are responsible for the marketing, and that we have details on the artists, we have flyers, we have, different bullet point, whatever we're going to have for the artists, we're going to have, okay? But it's going to be up to them to do like the printing of it and where it goes and how it's going to be distributed or whatever the case is, and they would have to ask certain permission. It's like if they're trying to showcase a good song of theirs, that whatever the case may be. All right. And then, let's say they pull in that same $2 million. What we actually do at that point is we give them a 30% royalty for using the place, because the vendors understand this. The venue is already making its money in various other ways. The venue itself. Now, when I actually asked, and I'm going to be redoing these contracts to see if they're willing to do it on this new date, but when I actually have spoken to the one pop singer, because I'm an agency that was looking for a pop singer, I came up with a set price. And then it was just, you pay this now and you pay that later type of thing. All right. And then if for any reason there was cancellations or whatnot, none of the money could be refunded or whatever the case may be. Now, I don't know how that would have went with a situation like a pandemic, because I'm sure they had to cancel a whole lot of them. So I think in that case, it might have been a little different. I would assume so, because that same type of agreement was with the venue that we did the event with too, and then they had to amend it to the pandemic in case if there were still cancellations or whatnot. So, make a long story short, the vendor is still going to make the money. Like, they have the vendor who's creating the food. And when I'm actually sitting there paying for each plate, that goes to the vendor. When there are exhibits and things like that, they want to charge something per table. I got to pay that in the final bill. That's that. Their security. I got to pay that. Their electricians. Their I guess they have. I'm assuming that they are after a union, but like backstage light technicians and etc. They all got to be paid in their way. Okay, so there are people that like I still have to do the same thing. It's just it's in a different scenario. For the masquerade ball, I'm actually, I get to see what is happening up front. And then I just make whatever it is after everything is done. Why? Because I have a set fee and then they got whatever they got going on there. Now, normally venues would have it where I can set the price and then they would take a percentage. And then they would be able to allow open venue drinks. Like, for example, the venues would be going in there. I mean, not the venue. That is the venue. Like, the Voss Place would actually have, like, drinks or merchants or whatnot that would be in there during the time that the masquerade ball is happening, and they make more money that way with merchandise. In this case, it's not happening. Now, I could do a collab with the artists and say, look, we could do a 30% merchant fee, meaning that they can go home with, 70% of their merchandise money that they made, and then we get 30% for bringing them there, because it's kind of like the flip side of the story. It's not like I'm gonna be their tour manager and actually setting up what it's gonna be with the venue. And because I'm an agency going into the Voss Place, typically it would be that way, that we would be, telling them that make sure, it's going to cost this or this, make sure. Now, they do have some areas where they will actually, promote the event, but there are all these other offset fees. So one thing that I am learning about venues is you need to be tough to be able to explain to the venue. Now, there's still room for me to actually negotiate there at the Voss Place, because I could actually, it depends. Like, we would like to see the room filled, and we know that we can get that room filled. But in the same token, it's like we have to up our charge past everything that, like, it's going to cost this for this, it's going to cost that for that. So now I think really what it should be is, what is your cost? How many people do you expect coming in? And we would tell them, for marketing, we would give you 10% of the ticket sale. We would also add an additional 30% for like the food, the lighting, and all that, and it's up to them to then just pay that to them, and then we just take the 60% from the actual event. And that would be the professional way of actually doing it. That's normally how I set up tours when it comes to Artist Agreement 360. But again, it is an event that's happening for SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. So it's set up in a little bit of a different perspective. And that's why when you're hearing, all this, now, the event cost, it is We've decided to do it this way because we are getting sponsors for the event. Members are paying membership fees to attend the event. We have donors that are paying into the event. We are always looking for sponsors. We are always looking for donors. You would actually be placed in our booklet of donors or whatnot when they are given out for each person that is at the event. Sponsorships as well, we are looking for that because we're trying to expand and do more of this on a year-to-year basis. So it is something that is going to continue. It is not going to end just with this one event. And so what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to set up a real VIP package. And we see that there are many exhibits that are going to be there. And we also know that there's going to be a lot of vendors there. And we might even have to expand our bill to go into the exhibit center. We don't even know that yet. And if that's the case, then we're going to end up increasing pricing even still. Not for you guys, but for those who are needing the tables. See, they have a set price per table. If they need electric or they need Wi-Fi for that table, there's another price for that. They got a price for this. And so what I'm doing is I'm acting like these prices don't exist even though they do, and then marking it up. So as of right now, I mean, and this is going to be in a convention center. So by rights, it is a fair, decent deal. So for vendors that are just looking for just a table, a regular table, okay, with Wi-Fi available, or not, whatever the case may be, we were looking at about $750, okay, for the vendor, and then it will be, and then it will actually be 30% royalty. Now that could be negotiated, the royalty. But you'd have to give me a real reason one way or the other. The royalties can be negotiated, and then, we'll figure it out from there. But the pricing of the table is just going to have to be the same. Now, if you want something that is this will take a lot of space, so that's why this amount is highly expensive. But if you need a 15-foot tent to go inside of a hallway space, see, we could do tables and do 2 rows of like 50 from up and down that main hallway, and then have a huge square for not photo exhibits, but fine art exhibits. But what I'm hearing is that we're going to be having a lot of fine art. And I think that if we're going to have a lot of fine art, we want to open one piece of the exhibit center. And they are willing to pay the price of the $750 to exhibit their artwork. And the royalty is perfectly fine. I know of at least about 50 on top of right now. 50 people, just fine artists alone. Excuse me, that actually want to showcase their fine art. And with the amount of what it would actually cost to add the exhibit center, at least Exhibit A, in the DeVos plates, and only charge $750 for them, we would have more than enough to rent that spot. But then we would need the night before to have them set up because they would need to be there. Now, the other reason why it is a cost the way it is because we are actually going to set you up for your hotel stay. You would just need to know how to get here. So that is the good news as well. But if you're going to be doing something like a 15-foot tent in the hallway, we are going to be charging about $20,000 for that, because that's a lot, and hopefully you have enough merchandise or something there that you would be able to make up the money that you spent to pay $20,000 to sit in a hallway with a tent. So yes, I am being very transparent here. That's what that would cost. And that's because when it comes past the table or whatnot, then you're going to have to show us proof of your insurances, because there's a lot more to it. If you are going to, at this event, you cannot sell alcohol. It's a conflict of interest because their food chain actually is providing all of that already. So I can accept clothing, like apparel, jewelry, beauty products, other agencies, fine art, other creations. We're going to be doing showcases. We'll explain about what the fees are for that as well. But right now, just for the masquerade ball, if you were planning to go to the masquerade ball only, where it's unlimited drinks, virgin or non-virgin, and yes, I'm even trying to see if they could do the pina colada, both virgin and non-virgin, and margaritas. Okay, just FYI for anybody that's wondering. And it will be it'll be a fun event, but in any case, you're going to be responsible for that. There will be tight security as well, safety, depending on the situation that is happening at that time, and unlimited food. Okay, I'm trying to make it Italian style, Italian mixed with French style, where instead of doing the fudge thing, I think we're going to be doing the the Eiffel Tower of graham crackers, something like that. I don't remember what it was, and I actually have to call back to find out what it is. But in any case, that's what we want to do. We're keeping it in theme. It is formal wear, gowns, tuxedos, mask. You can wear your mask. You may have to wear your mask anyway. If it's less than 30% of people that could fit in there, and it's not going to make for the damages that we already have, we may have to postpone it and move it up to another date, but it would have to be the next year because Grand Rapids gets cold quick during certain months. So I'm not trying to get anybody sick or anything like that. So in any case, it's going to be $350. Right now, I'm trying to see if the $350 will include the exhibit. If it does include the exhibit, that means so you can walk into the convention center, you can see the exhibits, buy merchandise, whatever the case may be, through the whole day, and then still be able to go to the masquerade ball. But I have to see where we're at financially with that, because we may have to do it where it will be a little bit more. So I might have to cut it back to what it used to be, where it was $190 for the exhibit and then $275 for the masquerade ball. And then we would just end up charging, and if you did both at one time, then you save a little bit. So instead of it being like $465, it would be like $400 to get both. You know what I mean? But the biggest thing is VIP packages. because we want to actually do that. And as long as we are able to fit as many people as we are able to fit in the masquerade ball, we could only fit about 4,000 people tops in it. The only merchants or vendors that we want inside of the actual masquerade ball would be like the pop artist merchants for their records, things like that, and possibly one big name sponsor. Like who the top sponsor will actually be in there, because awards will be given out and everything. It's going to be live streamed as well. And then the other thing that will be in there will be our professional gown photography. So one will be on one side of the stage. The other one will be on the other side of the stage. We're going to have 2 people doing the live streaming videos. So there'll be 2 photographers on each side of the stage taking photos during the time of the award ceremonies. And then on the outside, and on either side of the stage, there'll be a red carpet. There'll also be a red carpet going up into the middle of the stage. And then on the outside, there will be 3 photo stations where you can purchase photo packages. And then you can also get red carpet photos behind our backdrop on one of them. And that cost would be $125 at the red carpet masquerade ball. Okay. So that is a little bit more about what is happening with our activities and the prices of things to come. Unfortunately, a lot of these prices are already preset, and that is because we're going by what we are being charged. So the agency needs to make sure that it is able to make the money back into the agency what is being paid out. So I want to let you know that even with this event that we're having, it is a very, very good exclusive event, but at the same time, it's for some folks it could be expensive, but we are actually going to brand this to California, Florida, Washington, New York, New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, and other different places where there's big cities like Chicago, Detroit. So that way then we can get as many people in there to fill up the walls. But because I'm pretty sure we're going to get many people throughout the day going in and out of there from Friday evening doing the exhibit all the way through Saturday. And then we have an after party that we're going to be doing, and that will be with the pop singers, and up to 1,000 people will be able to be invited to that. It will be a red carpet style after party for Sunday, so you're going to be there for the whole weekend, and you'll have a chance to sell your merchandise there on Friday evening as well as on Saturday. And then you'll want to be able to make sure that you are able to you're able to stop selling during the 2-hour break period for the actual live streaming red carpet award show. It will be the first annual Slmta award show shown live, and we're going to try to see, besides it being shown live on on the internet, that it will also be like we have the press that's going to be there. So this isn't some small thing. This is going to probably be something that will be on not worldwide TV, but that it will be on local news stations, kind of like the Oscars, the Grammys type of scenario, because we are researching top producers, top artists, things like that. We're interviewing different people to figure out who is doing what, and then watching them, and etc. So we are basically, if you are invited, even the top YouTuber that we have. So there are probably, I'm going to say, close to 50, if not more, different awards that are going to be going out in various degrees, as well as, I think, up to 30 certificates with cash prizes. And you're going to also be seeing everybody with like our gold crown trophies. So, and then we're going to be having Mr. and Mrs. Model of the Year. That's going to be a big particular one. And that one's going to actually be a legitimate gold crown king and queen of the model pageant part of our programming. So this is something that you do not at all want to miss. It's going to be a fun, exciting adventure. Seriously. So I'm going to leave it there because there's so much more that I want to say about this that your mind's just going to be blown to proportions. But we are sharing it with all the different agencies out there. Now, here's another note that I want to leave with you guys. It was supposed to only be an hour block special edition, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and extend it out. So, anyway, I know that I have emailed several model agencies, talent agencies as well, and I understand that there might be some confusion in what I was trying to email. This is not about trying to take away anybody's clients. We need to get out of the competition field and start thinking about collaboration. That's what this whole entire programming is about right now, is how to collaborate. Because you could be missing opportunities right in front of you, and the more that you worry about competition, the faster your doors are going to close even before you know it. I mean, so I'm not too concerned about one convention trying to tell me that I'm hurting the territory of another. I believe that that is an illegal statement to say, in all fairness, because according to the entertainment law, any agency can work from anywhere. There is no real actual territories for any agency. So if there's a lack of collaboration because of, you may want to actually rethink who you are involved with or who is involved with your business. Because I'm not going to control, I will not be able to control who I'm signing in SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. Now, we do ask, are you a member of any other agency? And if they say no, then how are we supposed to know? That's number one. Number two, that's a question that you would have to take up with that particular artist, not to blame to an agency that wouldn't know either way. We can look the name up and then see if it's possible, or we can ask for a resume and hope that he slips up. But there's no guarantee. So basically what I'm saying is if you're worried about competition, about losing clients, then you might want to rethink how you're doing business. Because today, and especially in the pandemic era, it's really about collaboration. We got singer and songwriters that are willing to collaborate. I don't understand why agencies are not. I don't understand how a convention center could actually, or not a convention center, excuse me, a convention or an association try to dictate territories. Even though that it is illegal, it's also unfair. It's almost like they don't leave any room for collaboration. It is their way or the highway. And believe me, I know this because I have dealt with a particular company where it was that way. So I'm here to tell you that's not how SL Models and Talent Agency LLC works. We're in the middle of one of the best accreditations that we could possibly have with the Better Business Bureau. Now, we're not accredited yet, but we're in the process of it. So let's make sure that I made that clear. We are in the process of that accreditation. We are also in the process of becoming a signatory toward the union, toward the unions to be able to accept other talent, such as these people that you claim out there saying they know Tom Cruise and they know this one, they know that one. Well, guess what? We might actually get a chance to know them because we will be able to deal with the actual pro stars of those that are working under union contracts because we are a agency that is qualified under the stipulations, excuse me, of these different types of contracts. So I was actually, and I don't like to say this, but I'm going to say it. We were picked up by one association and shunned by another one. And the reason that we were shunned by it is because of this whole thing of misinterpretation of what actually my email was to an agency. I emailed a particular agency that was within where my home office is here in Chattanooga. And there was talk between that agency and the executive director of the association, and what comes back to me is we see that you are claiming that you are a member. Okay, there were three things wrong with that statement. One was they were trying to say that I claimed that I was actually a member of an association that I wasn't a member of, because I was still actually investigating the legalities of it. And then two, the whole thing about it was stated that you are running business in an area where there's already an agency within the territory that we said we no longer need agency memberships or whatever the case may be. That was two. And then three was the simple fact being that they were actually charging me to go there to find the talent, when it should have been the other way around. I should be charging them for my time to go there to judge the talent. Because that's usually how that works if you're in a real actual agency. So let's limit the first one. The first one is there is no such thing as territories for anything. And what do I mean by that? Ask SAG and SEAE. They will tell you they have signatories from every which way. They have all kind of agents that are franchises to their unions. And there are very strict guidelines and regulations to even get involved as a signatory to their union. Okay? And I was specifically told that if I actually was to join this one association that I'm not going to talk about much now, that it is a conflict of interest to the no charge upfront agency regulation. Now, mind you, when I say that, no charge up front, when I look at that, I see it as I'm not charging up front, but there are things that we have that are regulated to a charge. Like, for example, I can book models and I can book actors, but like to get singers involved in their lifestyle, there will be charges. The producer charges, you know, and there's nothing that I could do about what a producer charges. I can't say, hey, producer, this is going to be pro bono. That, you know, that they are a production company. Here's the problem. To them, they think I should suggest it, but if I suggest it, then it actually breaks the Council of the Better Business Bureau and Consumer Affairs rules, as well as other stipulations to the entertainment law. So there is a conflict of interest there. So the only way that this stipulation of upfront costs could even matter is if I'm not actually telling anybody that signs with SL Models and Talent Agency LLC that they have to pay something in order to be signed or booked with us. And that would be the case. We're not asking to sign or book anybody for a fee. However, there are things that we have where there's a price associated with them. Now, even if for some reason this didn't go well, Slmta is actually developing its union based off of the real criteria of state, local, international, as well as national federal law, which means that there will be a huge change up on how things will go from that point on. There will also be a models guild that is collaborated between Cameo Models and Slmta, and perhaps one other. I don't know where things are going with that quite yet, and I'm a little bit confused. But yeah, so I think that I have finally gotten rid of that one conflict of interest because of the association, but that's why I'm now even taking a step forward for the association that I want to be with now, and I will bring the name up, MAAI, is because of the fact being that they are willing to work along the way of the law, even if it means that there has to be a change in things that are happening. I actually, well, unless there's some other secret that I don't know about, I'm actually in talks with the executive director / president of that association today. All right. I am in talks. My collaboration with Cameo Model is with a past and present president of MAAI, Renee Lacey. So a lot of what I'm talking about here is no game, no shame. It is for real. I have my home office in Chattanooga. The president is starting their office in Chattanooga. There is no conflict of interest. Nothing about territories or you know, we don't need any other industry leaders to this or that. And it's even going to get better than that. I'm just giving you one little example of the big issue that I was having. Because for a minute there, I think this one agency thought they really had me. But the reality is that there is nothing illegal of me actually going and doing business in Chattanooga, just because there's an agency there. Now, they could try, if they wanted to, and say, well, we were trying to, we were trying to say that we are impersonating that agency with this agency, but that would just be baloney because I could just share all my contacts and whatnot. I mean, I have literally blocked the contacts from this agency because I felt like what I thought was professional was very unprofessional. And as far as the other association, I mean, I would reevaluate this whole convention thing because it's not even by the standards of the state, federal, or state, local government, let alone the federal entertainment laws. And you're probably wondering, what do I mean by that? Well, you know what? I'm not going to do a sales pitch, but the only way you're going to know that in shorter time span than what I have available right now is if you take the Production Law 101 class. Why? Because I would be explaining to you exactly what you need to be careful of when it comes to conventions and whatnot. You need to be careful of what agreements you're signing to. Now, some agreements will have fine line. Some agreements will have fine print, and you won't know anything about it. And some agreements will be 2-page agreements that are so general that if you read the very last statement when it comes to amendment, guess what? Whether it's stated or written, it is considered to them a rule in their agency. So in other words, there are things that you don't know about that they could actually change up. These are all illegal types of contracts. Now, is it illegal to have fine print? No, not really. Usually fine print, if you're doing it in a way that it is done legally, it just states the extra words that the actual part or section of that agreement is saying. Like, for example, the impersonation disclaimer would be like, do not pretend to be someone that you are not. And then fine print would be like, yeah, you don't want to steal anyone's photos and send them out to somebody else. You don't want to turn around and pretend that you're a company that you're not. And things like that. That's what fine print would do. But what other people, like illegal companies, will use fine print for is to try to hide what the real intention is and use that as the excuse for their amendment. And then turn around and just have that last statement at the bottom saying, anything said or anything that is written can be amended. Meaning that you can have a spoken agreement about something that they didn't realize was going to happen until they met up with you particularly. Well, because they said it and they have a recording of it, it's considered an amended contract clause. And then you don't even know what you agreed to, because it was just like a conversation and you were like, yeah, yeah, it could work that way or whatever, right? So, in all honesty, you got yourself hooked into something said or not said, written, or even implied. Look at the CARES Act, for an example. The word may request a grant up to $10,000 within 3 days. I was supposed to do a video on that, but it's getting late. And I wanted to bring all this up to kind of help guide you along. So this is actually a 4-phase video into 2 hours, but that's okay. I really want to let you guys know how serious I am to being able to help new faces, the elite emerging artists that are coming out from school, whether it's vocational school, like modeling school, college, university, and also for the stars out there, the pro stars, pop stars, model stars. We want to help not educate, but to expand your horizons. And I'm even going to go a step further here on the limb and say that we are also working with international agencies to bring in international models and artists to a national agency such as SL Models and Talent Agency, LLC, so that they have a chance to work in America and enjoy American culture. But there are stipulations, between the types of visas and different things that we have to work on with that. But other than that, the booking should be quite simple, because a lot of these folks, like there's one particular, I still call him a friend, even though that you may think differently. But I have one friend that literally rose up out of nowhere, that I was actually trying so hard to see how I could get him here to do model work. And I knew that he had a high potential even before knowing that. And guess what? I think it will be made a whole lot easier for us to get the bookings now, because he is really already within a year been considered a pro model with IMG, Vogue. There's another one too I'm trying to remember. I believe he works with 4 different agencies from 4 different countries. And I right now really want to be like that 5th agency that could work for what his ultimate dream was, and that was to be and visit in the United States of America legally, of course, with the work that he's able to do. And he's not just a pro model, he actually is a model. He is someone that, if I could collab with him, could even explain to you exactly what you need to do to become a model. And we're not just talking about like what it looks like in a picture. We're talking about the life of a model for real within 1 hour. of a discussion. You know, that I'm gonna see what I can do, because I really plead to this person to actually entrust. Um, yeah, I think that we can really, really make it work. I mean, I'm to the point now where we are having the greatest potential within Canada, within Western Europe, like Paris, Italy, Spain, you know, places like that, Turkey, even. Modeling agencies all around the world that are wanting to bring their model to be able to work in the United States. This is going to be a huge collaboration, something bigger than I could ever imagine, but it is going to take place. It is something to really be surprised about, and I want to be able to do the same where there are some pro models that are ready to travel. Well, if they want to go to Turkey and become part of the IMG roster, there's that possibility. I cannot say for certain, but there is that possibility. But we got to get you to work so that they can see it. Not just the photos that you're having with an agency, but the actual proof of you doing other work that is illustrated by paid assignments that you have done. And we will reference those by calling the clients of the agencies that you have worked for, so that we can verify, you know, the continuation of what is happening. But we also want to continue to book with those clients if they really do enjoy having you as a part of their booking. So these are all things, folks, that are coming up the pipeline too fast, that even with me snapping my fingers, I'm pretty sure there's 14 emails right now. So until next time, my 2-hour Blacks entertainment special on our events, classes, and information is now over. I'm sad, but it is. It's a little after 11 o'clock. I am getting tired as well, but in any case, I really do enjoy doing these videos and being able to help you in whatever way I possibly can. I think that it's a benefit to all of us. Okay, and so I want to leave it there. And if you have any questions, please comment them down below. Okay, if you have any, if you want to know more about the agency, what we are doing, or you like the information that we are providing, whether it is stimulus related, or if it is going to be entertainment related or agency related, please subscribe, hit the notifications button down below, and like the video if this is the information that you do like. And we will be surely glad to answer any questions that you may have, any concerns. Just know that we do block not haters, but irresponsible comments, because we want to be sure that we are keeping this professional and that we are keeping it on the topics that we are speaking about. In other words, know what I'm speaking about, and I see it all the time on Facebook. Everybody is liking the video, but I am almost certain that half of you are not actually seeing what is available. It is time to subscribe so that you can be able to see what else is coming down the pipeline for SL Models and Talent Agency LLC. Again, and I want to leave you with this statement. Unleash the artist within and let your light shine. And until next time, have a blessed evening.